Good afternoon. My name is Jim Dickinson. I'm the chair of the Board of Architectural Review. We are running a few minutes late. One of our members is caught in traffic. Apparently, there was an accident at the corner of Versailles and Mason Heatley. So we really cannot start our meeting until he gets here because we need three people. And one of our other members is, she's not playing hooky. She's actually working for her firm in West Kentucky, is it? So we don't have a quorum right now to start the meeting. So I ask for your patience, and when Brack gets here, hopefully, we will start. Thank you very much. If I may have your attention, we are beginning the meeting. I would like to welcome you to the November 19, 2025 meeting of the Board of Architectural Review. We appreciate those of you who are in attendance today. The board was established by zoning ordinance in 1958. Our first historic district was Grants Park, and we now have a total of 15 historic districts. The board, which is appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the Urban County Council, is a part of the Division of Historic Preservation. The Historic Preservation Office maintains a full-time staff to assist you with your projects. The board encourages and recommends that applicants use them as a resource. The Historic Preservation Office is located at 101 East Vine Street, room 220, right downstairs. Is there a procedure to consider applications in the order in which they're listed on our agenda? In each case, we'll have a presentation by the staff and we'll hear any additional comments from the applicant. The board will then ask questions or make comments regarding the application and then hear comments from any other interested parties. The chair will then ask the board members to enter a motion. If you wish to address the board members, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the public record. We also ask that you write your name on the sign-in sheet by the door so that information can be recorded. Generally speaking, we will restrict your comments to 3 minutes each. I would like to note the following staff approvals before we begin our review applications. There are certain items that the staff can approve, thereby eliminating necessity for all applicants to appear before the board. There are a total of 37, I believe. Yes, 37 approved applications. I ask for a motion that they be considered read into the record.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Without objection, the staff approvals are read into the record. We will now turn our attention to the first application, which is in the Ashland Park Historic District at 257 South Hanover Drive. Is the applicant here? Come on up. Yes, I guess you get to go to the big podium. Okay. And hopefully, there we go.
Name and address for the record. Oh, my name is Joe Martinovich. I'm an architect, and my office is at 838 East High Street, number 199.
All right. The staff has actually recommended approval of your application subject to what I will call a couple of substantive conditions. I want to ask you about those. The first one is to submit the final door and window details and specifications to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of the COA. Are you in agreement with that?
No problem there. Yes, that's
okay.
Fine.
The other one is that you set the south side of the addition in by 1 foot from the side walls of the historic structure. Are you in agreement with that?
Actually, no. I'm hoping to give you some additional information to help make a better decision.
Okay.
Hopefully reverse that decision, I'll say.
All right. In that case, I would like to go ahead and sound the rest of the agenda to see which ones need to be heard.
Okay.
And we'll circle back to you.
Okay.
And have a hearing. Okay.
So,
all right. Take your seat, please. Okay. Turning now to our second application at 1007 Fontaine Road in the Ashland Park Historic District. The scope of work is construct a carport. Is the applicant here? Please don't come up to the podium, please. I know it's a bit of a hike. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. Brad Hawkins, owner of Dudley Road Bungalows, office address 620 Euclid Avenue, Suite 202 in Lexington.
Okay. The staff has recommended approval of your application subject to one, what I call a substantive condition, which is the final details of the columns be submitted prior to the issuance of the COA. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
The other two are, once reviewed by the other city divisions, resubmitting any changes to the staff or board for review and approval prior to start of work. Are you in agreement?
Yes, sir.
And finally, if any changes are made that alter the information submitted, resubmit those changes to staff for review and approval prior to start of work.
No problem.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board members? Any questions or comments from the audience? If not, then the chair is ready for a motion.
Chair, per case number 07201007-A at 1007 Fontaine Road, I move that we approve the certificate for appropriateness with the one non-standard condition that has been read into the record and the two standard conditions as also previously read and agreed to.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes and the COA as conditions approved. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
All right, turning now to our third application at 128 Clay Avenue in the Ellsford Place Historic District. Is the applicant here? I'm going to just jump over you right now. I know that you won't be heard. Okay, thank you. All right, moving now to the next one, attachment number 4, 135 Ransom Avenue. Scope of work is construct a rear addition, demolish garage, and construct garage. Is the applicant here? Come on up.
Hi,
All right, state your name,
Cindy Trapp,
address, please.
135 Ransom Avenue.
Okay, staff has recommended approval of your application. There's one, what I call substantive condition, which is provide the final doors and window details and specifications prior to the issuance of the COA.
Okay,
Are you in agreement with that?
yes,
And the other two are the, what we refer to as the standard conditions that I previously read. Are you in agreement with those?
yes.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board members? Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, the chair is ready for a motion.
Chair, with regard to case number 1574013-5-J, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted with the standard 2 conditions which have been read into the record. And condition number 1, provide final door and window details and specifications prior to the issuance of a COA.
All right, do I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes and the COA as conditions approved.
Thank you.
Thank you and good luck. Okay. Hopefully not too much. Turning now to attachment 5, 497 East Main Street in the Belcourt Historic District. Scope of work is change openings in main structure, rear addition and garage, remove shutters. Is the applicant here? If you state your name for the record, please.
I'm Mike Tuttle, residing at 247 North Broadway.
All right, Mr. Tuttle, the staff has recommended approval. Trying to get to it, yes, has recommended approval of your application with just the 2 standard conditions I had previously read. Are you in agreement with those? Or do I need to read them again? I'll read them again.
I honestly haven't read this. I didn't even know we had staff approval, but thank you.
Yes, you have staff approval.
Okay.
All right, let me read them in the record for you. The standard 2 conditions are once reviewed by the other city divisions, resubmitting changes to staff or board for review and approval prior to start of work. In agreement?
Agree.
And secondly, if any changes are made that alter the information submitted, resubmit the changes to staff for review and approval prior to start of work. In
We
agreement?
agree. Yes.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board members? Any questions or comments from the audience? If not, the chair is ready for a motion.
Chair, with regard to case number 122-60497-H, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted with the standard 2 conditions as noted and read in the meeting.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion then as conditioned is approved. Mr. Tuttle, thank you.
Thank you
I'll
very
get back
much.
with the
Thank
project. Turning now to attachment number 6, 2930 Cadentown Road. The scope of work is to demolish a house and garage, and that's all it is. Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir. Lindsay Mosley on behalf of the applicant.
All right. Are there people here that wish to comment on this application? Okay, I think what we're going to do then is let me go through the rest of my agenda, and then we'll come back to you, sir.
Okay.
For for comments from the residents who are here. Well, certainly. There are other there'll be 2 or 3 other hearings that we'll have to do first. Okay. And I have a council meeting I need to be at, but we're all running late today. And I apologize for us running late. So hopefully, I think once you understand the scope of this application, there'll be as fewer concerns than initially thought. Okay. All right. Turning now to 423 West Fayette Park in the Fayette Park Historic District. Scope of work is to install a platform lift. Is the applicant present? Come on.
My
All
name's
right.
Sarah Katzenmeyer. My parents live at 423 Fayette Park.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe the staff has approved your application,
I believe so.
subject to what I call the standard 2 conditions. Are you in agreement with those?
Maybe repeat them?
Let me repeat them.
Sorry.
The first one is reviewed by the other city divisions, resubmitting changes to staff for board for review and approval prior to start of work.
I agree.
And secondly, if any changes are made that alter the information submitted, resubmit the changes to staff for review and approval prior to start of work.
I agree.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board members? Any questions or comments from the audience? Chair is ready for a motion.
Chair, with regard to case 173-10424-N at 423 West Fayette Park, I move that we grant the certificate of appropriateness with the 2 conditions that have been read and noted at this time.
All right. Do I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes and the COA as conditioned is approved. Thank you. Turning now to 624 North Broadway. Is the applicant here? Is the applicant here? All right, we'll postpone it. We'll come back to this in just a minute. All right, turning now to attachment 9 at 538, 542 Arcadia Park in the 7 Parks Historic District. Scope of work is to install a deck and fence.
And I'm the applicant. I'm Tommy Walleyes, and I live at 538 and 542 Arcadia Park.
All right. And the applicant has, the staff has recommended approval of your application, subject to the standard 2 conditions. I've read them previously. Did you hear them?
Yes, and I agree.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board members? Questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, the chair will then ask for a motion.
Chair, my mind's not working, so I'll just talk loudly. Case number 005105338-6-D, at 538-542 Arcadia Park. I move that we approve this certificate of appropriateness with standard 2 conditions.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion passes and the COA as conditioned is approved. Now let's figure out what's wrong with your,
So yours, when I speak, it's just not coming on.
it's not working either.
Green, maybe it will this time. It did on the first case. Stop.
This is all because you have to be at, and sir, this is all because you have to be at Bible study and I need to be somewhere else. All right, so do we have working microphones or not?
This one continues to be in cooperative.
Okay, well, Susan, I know how strong a voice you have.
No, it's blinking green now, but,
Well, I'll make the motions.
and I'll second.
Okay. Okay, so now we are at 200 West High Street, remove sycamore tree. Is the applicant here? Thank you.
My name's Jennifer Gibson. I'm the church business administrator for First Shin Methodist Church located at 200 West High.
Okay, staff, did you submit me a new recommended conditions or not?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have them in front of me. I don't know what happened to it, but I don't have it. That's number 2. Hang on, maybe I do have it. I take that back, I do have it. Never mind. Okay. Thank you for
Ready.
your patience. Now I'm ready. State your name for the record, please.
Jennifer Gibson. I'm the church administrator.
Okay, Ms. Gibson, my name is Jim Dickinson. I'm the board chair. The staff has recommended approval, but they have one, what I would call fairly substantive condition that I just want to read over. If in agreement with you, we can just move on. If not, then we'll have to have a hearing on it. That condition is replace the tree with a tree that will be a similar size of the tree that's being removed. That large? You can't.
That was my question.
Hmm?
Thank you.
Eventually. Well, you didn't say eventually.
That was my question as well. I was like, how am I going to get a tree that
Yeah.
big?
Okay. Let me rephrase it. Replace the tree with a tree that will become a similar size of a tree that's being removed. Before replacing the tree, submit a plan to the urban forester for review as to whether the proposed site will have enough green space to allow it to grow to maturity, and a maintenance plan for continued care of the tree. Are you in agreement with all that?
Yes.
Thank you so much. The other 2 are the standard 2 conditions we've been previously reading into the record. Are you in agreement with those?
Yes.
All right, any questions or comments from the board members? Questions or comments from the audience? If not, I believe the chair is ready for a motion.
Chair, with regard to case 093-00200-CC at 200 West High Street, I move that the certificate of appropriateness be granted with the standard 2 conditions and the additional condition number 1, which has been read into the record.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes and the COA as conditions approved. I hope you have a wonderfly healthy tree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, turning now to 107 South Ashland Avenue in the Ashland Central Avenue Historic District. Scope of work is construct a brick wall. Staff is recommending approval only of a 6-foot brick wall. Are you in agreement with that?
We would like to be heard.
I thought you would. I will come back to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, turning now to 124 South Ashland Avenue in the same district. Scope of work is move garage and narrow driveway. Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir. Darren Taylor, 239 North Mill Street.
Mr. Taylor, staff, I believe, has recommended approval.
Yes, sir.
Subject to the standard 2 conditions. Are you in agreement with those?
We are.
Do you have any questions or comments from the board members? Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none. Chair will call, yes.
Chair, for
Thank you.
case number 001.
Thank you.
10124-0. At 124 South Ashland Avenue, I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness with the standard two conditions.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second?
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is passed and the COA as conditions approved.
Thank you as always.
Turning now to our last case to be sounded at 298 South Ashland Avenue. Scope of work is demolish garage, construct garage, and associated site work. Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record, please.
Tim Parton.
All right, Mr. Parton. Staff has recommended approval of your application in full, subject to the standard two conditions.
I
Are you in
agree with
agreement with
those.
those? All right.
Yes.
Any questions or comments from the board? Questions or comments from the audience? All right, then I'm ready for a motion.
Then I'm going to try this one.
Okay. And we're still trying to find microphones.
This working?
Yes.
Yes. Chair, per case number 00710298-R at 298 South Ashland Avenue, I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness with the standard two conditions.
All right, do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor of the any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes and the COA as conditions approved. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with your project. All right, I'm going to exercise my prerogative as chair. And given the fact that we have a number of people in the audience, I think that want to be heard on a particular issue, if we get to that point, I'm going to go ahead and call the Cadentown application first. But let me catch up with you, sir. Yeah, I've got it. All right. Let me explain to you briefly our procedures. The staff has recommended approval of your application in order, and I'm assuming, and those are changes are made that alter the information submitted, resubmit the changes to staff for review and approval prior to work. And the others, once reviewed by the other city divisions, resubmit those changes to staff or board for review and approval, start the work. This application in no way authorizes any kind of a subdivision. It is simply a single-family house that's being demolished. Are there people in the audience that would like to be heard on this application? Yes, sir. All right, in that case, then we're going to have a staff presentation, and then you can be heard with respect to your application, and then we'll hear from the audience. Public comment. Okay, Mr. Dennis.
$2930 Cadentown Road. The application is to demolish a house in the garage. The applicant is requesting a certificate of appropriateness to demolish a historic frame house and a later concrete masonry units garage. Give me a second. Both structures are in a severely dilapidated condition. The Cadentown Historic District was designated as a historic district based on the pattern of land development as to opposed to its historic structures. The historic structure was originally constructed as a wood siding on wood frame bearing on wood pilings. The previous owner of the property owned a concrete company. Over time, the concrete stucco was placed on the exterior of the structure, which increased the loading on the wood framing and has contributed to the structural deterioration. The owner states that the property is currently in much distress, that it is found not safe to be habitable. The foundation has eroded away, which were wood log posts, as well as roofing and window structures. The property has been deemed by multiple contractors as a complete tear down so that a The owner also states the property is inhabited by squatters and contains drug paraphernalia. When staff visited the site to photograph the structure, a lady came out to question why the staff was there. And again, this is only demolition of those two structures. And then in the next meeting, there will be another COA application for a new single-family residence. Findings. The guidelines are included for your information. Staff visited the property and determined to the staff's satisfaction that the structures are in such a severely dilapidated state and are beyond any reasonable effort to save them. Staff finds the proposal to demolish the historic structure and the garage meets guideline 6A, which states demolition should only recur as a last resort after all other avenues to protect the historic building and structures have been exhausted. The owner has submitted financial information to show that the proposal also meets guideline 6C3, which states the property owner proves that no reasonable economic return may be gained from the property through a process designated in Article 13, Section 7C, Appendix E. Additionally, the proposal meets the guideline 6D. Demolition of a structure or building should not be detrimental to the character, scale, rhythm, and design and importance of a group of buildings, streetscape, or district. The Cadentown Historic District was designated a historic district based on the pattern of land development as opposed to its historic structures. The BOAR has previously approved multiple COAs for demolition in the Cadentown Historic District. That is the end of the staff report.
Let me get my microphone on. If you come up to the audience. I think we heard the staff report. I'm assuming that you were the one that submitted information concerning the deteriorated condition of the site.
Yes, sir.
Now are you intending to build a house there as well?
Single family resident, yes, sir.
And is that application still pending before us?
Yeah, we don't have the plans 100%
Okay.
ready for the submit, but yes.
All right, I suspect there might be some people there for that as well. Let me ask you this, are you going to be ready by December 17th to have that presentation, or do we need to push it out?
No, we should be ready by the 17th.
Okay.
The demo part is more about what's going on at the existing residence, trying
What
to get
is-
it.
What is going on exactly?
Well, you've got, like I said, staff report, you got squatters and they're staying there. Yeah, there is evidence of drug paraphernalia.
Can the house not be barricaded off?
No,
Okay.
you can't. I mean, they're real nice. They invited the owner and I to look around and do what we need to do, you know what I'm saying, as far as that, but they,
Okay.
Yeah.
Understand. All right, I understand there's some people in the audience that like to be heard. Go ahead, sir. Take your seat, and
Yes,
if
sir.
you'll state your name. How many people are wanting to speak on this matter? One. All right,
Well, I tell you what,
I'll give you about 5 to 10
that's
minutes.
okay. It won't take that long.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what, we appreciate
Let's start off, please.
Leon Slatter.
Thank you.
All right. 1190 Oakwood Drive. I'm the pastor of Cadentown Missionary Baptist Church,
Yes, sir.
right next door. And to make a long story short, we have put up with the squatters for over a year. So somebody just finding out about it. But anyway, that's okay. Matter of fact, we went ahead and allowed them to use the water from the church. And so, out of kindness. But then we're very appreciative that you are considering a single family home. And this is what my concern is, that it is a single family home where there are no curves of any kind. We know that it has occurred in the neighborhood in some kind of way.
There are no what, sir?
Huh?
What did you say?
I said single family home. No, nothing additional,
Okay, thank you.
no curves. or
Curveball.
There you go.
There, okay, thank you.
And as far as the demolition is concerned, the house need to be torn down. Something need to be done to it. We're in complete agreement with that. The thing I will say is we think we have a very beautiful little section there as it has to do with the trees. We would hope that you give consideration to the trees and don't, because we own the property on both sides. We own the property on the other side. There are trees there that you be careful about the trees. And we're, I think more than anything else, we're concerned about what your plans are. And, if you on the up and up, we would appreciate knowing what they are, amen, as soon as possible, as soon as, rather than even to wait to come back down here. If you would consider that, maybe you could, maybe you would know. But it'd be great.
I'm assuming there's a neighborhood association, or that he could just meet with the church.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. We'll be happy to do that and we got other members of the community here. So we'll be happy to do that. Yeah. And I want to thank the board for holding to the fact that this is a single family dwelling. So that's all the time I need.
Anyone else? Not yet, Mr. Baldinger. Yes, ma'am. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Kimberly Robinson,
Ms. Robinson, it's good to see
and
you again.
I've been a resident of Catontown since 1964. I'm 61 years old, and I just plead to the board, and I thank you all for sticking to the single residential home, because we've had other things occur in our community that we didn't agree with that got approved, but we fought, we lost, but we're gonna fight again this time. We wanted to stay a single residential home. We don't want an Airbnb because somebody just snuck one in on us on Caton Lane. So if we can hold people to accountability and have a single residential home, because we are a family in Caton Town. Everybody sees about each other. Sometimes developers come in the community, well, all the time, developers come in the community, they're not staying, so they don't care what happens. But we care what happens, and we want accountability. And we do agree with the demolition of the home and the garage, because we do have squatters there. And we occur, they come across our property and do things. They've shot up in our stairwell. So I agree with that. It does need to come down. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Baldinger?
If I can have one other thing to address, like the trees, totally agree with you. They're actually valuable to what we're trying to accomplish as well. Yeah, typically 6 inches girth or larger stays. Get the underbrush, clean it up. And the house would look, it'd be a really nice 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath ranch. It'd be hardy and brick.
Barry, I suspect that there'll be restrictions on the tree removals. As the size of the trees that can be removed, if any.
Well, the demolition permit would not cover
No, I'm talking about
tree removal.
I'm talking
And
about when they build the
like,
house.
Yes, our standard 10-inch diameter
Okay.
rule would apply.
16.
And it would be up to the board to approve a removal of any particular tree.
Do you have your site plans and your blueprints already prepared?
We have the site plan, a tentative with the blueprints. Mr. Paul Lee's in the process of getting them finalized for me.
Let me encourage you that you meet with the members of the Caton Town Association and Church and review those plans with them beforehand.
Oh, I promise you, I'm gonna give a reverend my business card before I leave here, and they reach out to me.
Perfect.
And we're gonna be just like champ.
We have learned over the years that communication between neighbors and applicants is the best thing that we can do to avoid controversial and drawn out meetings.
I agree. Well, we're trying to build a nice house to sell.
Okay.
And so, the things that's going to be important to everybody else is important to us. We don't want to cut trees. I don't want to cut trees because it costs money to take them down, and it's hard work. But no, we want to keep And plus you one of the reasons I got Mr. Lee involved, he's done several projects in that community, so he's very familiar. He's designed most of the houses.
What's his name again?
Paul Lee.
Do you know him, sir?
Paul Lee is an architect that has been in front of the board numerous times,
How do you
and
spell
a few
his last
times
name?
in the last few months.
How do you spell his last name?
LEA.
Oh, okay, yes, he has been here. All right.
So he knows more about it than I do, which is
Okay.
usually good.
And I have seen the schematic, and it's a very nice looking structure.
All right, well, we will deal with that at the next meeting.
Perfect.
Okay, any other questions, comments from the audience? Do you have anything else to add, sir?
No, sir. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Well, we're not quite done yet.
Oh, no, sorry.
Any questions or comments from the board members? Okay. Just speak.
I have a question. It's probably a legal question. Is there a way to insert in my motion the request that a meeting be held with the neighborhood and association and church prior to the
Oh, yeah, appreciate it.
review of the COA? And I kind of imagine that it can be a formal requirement, but I'd like that language to be in my motion. Is that possible?
I think you could put that in your motion if you wanted to. And I think it's possible if you want to put it as a condition, you might could do that, but I think it's up to you.
I think we can only go so far as that you strongly suggest as a part of your, as a recommendation.
Yeah, that's probably
Attorneys
be
in
the
both
best.
Okay,
directions.
all right.
Strongly, yeah, in
All
your
right.
motion.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
I also have an amendment
Okay.
to
What is
the
your?
conditions.
And
And
what is
how
yours?
would we be adding that? She makes a motion, then I would amend that, or?
We can informally discuss it right now and see if we can add it in to her motion for you. What are you looking
I would
for?
like a condition to be added that no plant material be removed outside a perimeter of 3 feet from the existing house's foundation.
You want to keep the green space intact, in other words.
Correct, until we see the next proposal.
Okay. Ms. Hill, can you add that in?
Definitely. So
He just doesn't like you.
this is quite the evening.
There you go.
The condition being no plant material be removed outside the 3-foot parameter of the existing structure removal.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to make a motion then? And Ms. Hill, you're just going to have to be a rock star and just sing into that microphone.
Oh, I can do that. All
Okay.
right, let's go. Per case number 437329330-C at 2930 Cadentown Road, I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness with the standard 2 conditions plus an added condition that no plant material be removed outside a 3-foot, outside 3 feet of the existing footprint of the removal of the structure.
All right. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Go ahead.
I had one more
Oh, I'm sorry.
comment to make, and this
I'm
is
sorry.
not, and I'm going to formalize it as a condition that the developer, the applicant
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
developer, this would be condition number 2.
If I could just jump in, I think it would be best just to make that as a suggestion and not as an actual condition for him.
Okay, a recommendation.
Yeah.
then I strongly recommend that the developer set aside time to meet at the convenience of the church and the neighborhood association to review the plans in the site development prior to the formal review by the BOAR.
I would like to suggest an additional statement to that. The plans as documented in the COA. Want to make sure that the plans at the meeting match the plans of the COA proposal that comes to us.
This is an informal conversation, right? As we look at revising this, I am in full support of that, but I also would like the neighborhood association to have the ability to have input on any modifications during the interim between that formal submittal. So
Okay.
I don't want to lock it in, but to give them that informal input and then to make sure they've reviewed the final submittal.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest that we're getting a little too close to micromanaging what the staff would be doing. I think what will be happening, and just as an assurance to the members of the Kingtown Association, once the plans are reviewed and finalized by the staff, those plans will be available for inspection by anyone, and they'll also be available prior to the meeting, our next meeting. And I think that's about as far as we can go with that. So if there's any discrepancies between whatever you all talked about and whatever is submitted to the staff, then the staff can point that out, that there is a discrepancy. And you most certainly can point that out at the next meeting. And hopefully there'll be an exchange between you all before we even have that meeting. Okay. All right, so let's start this whole motion over again, if you don't mind. All right, the second part of it.
In terms of the conditions,
Yeah,
the motion includes a new condition, number one, that no plant material be removed outside of the 3 feet of the footprint of the existing building structure, plus the 2 standard
all
conditions.
right. Anything else? And I'll get to the endorsement in just a moment. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay. This motion carries with it an implicit, per our discussions, endorsement that the applicant and the Kingtown Association and the Baptist Church meet to discuss these plans before the next meeting. Does that work? Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion as conditioned is approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, make sure he has your business card. Thank you. And to the residents of Cadentown, thank you all for coming and giving us your input. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. But all right.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Pretty well. How about you?
Okay, let's move on to
I know the feeling.
Yeah, number one, let's go back to 257 South Hanover. I appreciate your patience. This is the problem of being the number one.
Yes, it was.
All right, so you want to be heard on the setting in the south side?
Yep, yes, sir.
All right, what we're going to do is, this is our procedure, let the staff do their presentation and reasons for why they're adding that condition.
Got it.
Then you can give your statements, and then if there's anyone from the audience that'd like to be heard, we'll call on the audience. Thank you. Oh, we're working Barry today. Okay. Mr. Dennis?
257 South Hanover Avenue, and I think I can make this pretty brief. The applicant is requesting a certificate of appropriateness to construct a rear addition. It's a one-story rear addition and approximately 23 feet 6 inches by 32 feet. Roof is low slope parapets with parapets and painted concrete masonry. And the guidelines are included for your use. And I believe that just the one, so the recommendation number 2, so the one, the one part of the findings, it says that the proposal does not meet 2 feet 2.4b, which states in part, exterior walls should be stepped in a minimum of 12 inches from the edge of the existing building. Because the south wall of the addition is not stepped in, that's why it doesn't meet the guideline. And recommendation, submit final door and window details and specifications to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of a COA. Set the south side of the addition in 1 foot from the sidewall of the historic structure, and then the 2 standard conditions.
All right. Go ahead, your turn.
Thank you.
Let me just jump in here. I just received a comment from a person that regularly watches our proceedings, and she says there's no sound. Is the tech person here?
They're behind you.
She's saying that there's no sound on the program. Normally we cover, you all cover it on government TV. Mhm. Let me, I don't know for sure, but she always watches me. Ah, gotcha. Okay, I'll tell her that. Thank you. But that's a problem for us in the sense that we're now having our substantive hearings on,
We will be on YouTube now,
okay.
and it'll be then posted on YouTube.
Is there a screen that says that for the?
Yes,
Okay.
it'll be in the archive movies and meetings as YouTube, and I meant to make an announcement about that earlier. Apologize.
This has been one interesting day.
Well, because of our
I know,
being,
I know, I know. All right, so I apologize. We will now pick up on with your, I want to make sure that your comments were being heard as well.
Yeah, and should add one thing. It's been pointed out to me that the south side of this new addition abuts a previous addition. And so I think.
Do we have the plans?
Yes. Again, my name is Joe Martinovich. I'm the
All right.
architect and I'm working with the homeowners on this project. The point I wanted to bring up, and maybe it's more of a clarification to help Mr. Dennis and his staff, is to maybe just explain a little bit more about where this alignment occurs. I don't know if there's a way to get a visual for the application just to help make it a little bit clearer.
Okay. We should be able to do that.
I don't know which.
Here we go.
So just that's,
We'll just keep going.
yeah, and then the lower one is back.
Okay. So if I could just point out is there a pointer on this, Barry?
Let me suggest that you do it on that screen.
Oh, okay. So the area that we're talking about in particular is right there on that corner. You can see this is, I'm gonna jump to it, but that's the primary original facade on that side of the driveway. That piece right down there on the first floor is the addition that was previously done prior to the owner taking residence, and then the additions being added to that. So let me just jump to that elevation, kind of shows it a little bit clearer. So basically what we have is there's the original from the 1930s or whenever this house was built. That was the original facade. This area right here where those triple windows are shown is the an existing addition, and then we're adding onto it. And you can see very, very subtly that line there is where the original or the current corner of the building is. The point I want to bring up is the amount that we're adding on is literally 3'4", about this wide, that we're adding on to this piece there. I'm going to try to jump to the floor plan to make it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, and the area that we're talking about is right there. So this is the edge of where the existing addition ends. This is the corner of where the existing original facade ends. And you can see where we've added on, it's just 3'4". Part of that is because of the fact that we just needed, in order to make everything work, we do step back, as you can see, as you get further back. A few other points I'd like to make on that respect is this elevation, right? That's the view from the driveway. The area where we're adding on is, you won't even, I would think you would be hard pressed to even see it from the street, much less the driveway. So the point I'm trying to get at is this is such a minor addition onto it. Again, we're careful not to touch the original facade that's there, the brick facade. And again, we're just hoping that because of that, you will hopefully reconsider that recommendation and allow us to put that in. See if there's anything else that we had to do there. Again, the materials that we're planning on putting there will match up exactly. So I think currently this painted brick, we'd have brick there. And by painting it, we don't have to worry about the visuals not looking proper. I think it'll still be very sensitive to the neighborhood and respectful for the original structure.
All right, any questions or comments from the board members?
So you are showing that it's already set in on the blueprints
Yes.
at 2 feet.
The existing building already is set in about 2.5 feet, yes.
Well, I'm looking here
I'm trying to get
at the addition appears to be set in
right.
2 feet.
Yes. So are we seeing, what you see in yellow there is what's the proposed addition?
Correct.
And the area in question is this little corner right there. And that's what we're asking to allow to just extend that portion of that wall by 3'4" to allow us to get the interior space as we need to work out.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Hill? You there? Okay. Barry, what's your response to the statement, if any? And you don't have to get up. Are you having microphone problems too?
Let's see. I think mine's working.
All right.
Yeah. The guideline is not clear. It just sets the wall, says to set the wall in. But based on the previous addition being set in the 2 feet, and this being such a small addition to that area, I don't know that a foot setback would make much of a difference.
Well, my impression is this is such a de minimis change. And normally we have that 1 foot set in, mainly just to make sure that the new boy on the block is being adequately delineated. I don't think that's what is happening here.
Well, I think that, as I mentioned, it's set back from the corner of the historic structure, and the guidelines are to allow to see the progress and growth of the structure. And personally, I think that it would be fine, but I had to go with the black and white of the guideline.
Well, that's...
Yeah, and additionally, we look at all sides of the structure, not just the front, as you know.
I know that. I know. Ms. Hill.
So to continue your comments, the way the roof lines are done of that initial addition, older addition, and then the current new addition, I think make very clear where the step back is for the proposed addition. I think separates it visually very clearly from both the original house and that older addition.
I would agree with that in this case.
Okay. In that case, then, any further comments? Brack?
No.
Okay. I think we're ready for a motion.
Chair, with regard to case 0876025 at 257 South Hanover Avenue, I move that the certificate of appropriateness be granted with the standard 2 conditions, as well as the condition to submit final door and window details and specifications to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of a COA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It being noted that we are not adopting the staff recommendation number 2. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, then the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion as conditioned is approved. And good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, I appreciate your patience, sir. Okay, turning now to 128 Clay Avenue. Is the applicant here? I think you know our process. I think what we need to do is have a staff presentation because I think you want to be heard on this application.
So this case was heard last year in October, and I'll go through this again. These are pictures taken last year, and then I'll show you this year. And specifically, we're looking at this particular tree because this was one of the contentious issues last year at this time. So this is the property at 128 Clay. The proposal is to remove the tree in question and install a driveway. We'll look at a little closer. This, of course, is this sweet gum tree. Again, the tree, and then these are more current pictures of this particular area. So the applicant previously, this property was accessed, I believe, or somebody had access, I believe, on off of Central, but now they're wanting to create a new access point here in this particular location. So the idea would be to remove this tree and to create a driveway here between the edge of the porch and this area. Mr. Barrett has submitted plans for a 16-foot wide driveway apron and to construct a 10 by 45 foot long driveway for the side yard of this duplex. I would say because of this infill, he is limited to 12-foot apron because of the infill regulations. And also there is a driveway in the rear where there's a fence enclosed. Here, I'll give you a little bit more pictures. This would also include removing the sidewalk here. And you can see this is a new fence that was put on where there is a driveway currently. This would include removing this particular area and creating a new patio in the rear yard. And we'll look at this plan here in a second. And the applicant also is proposing to plant a new tree and remove this asphalt. And I do want to show, and this would be where the patio would be, but remove the asphalt here. As staff was sort of looking at this project, staff noted that on a Google Street View, this is the driveway from 2019 that included that the silver car is where right here is the back addition of the house in question. And a car was parked here. But now if we look further in that same area, and currently the new fence is there. So the fence that did get a permit is there now. And so these two parcels, have now separated out and are not necessarily using this as a shared drive as maybe perhaps it once was before. Yes, sir.
The house in question is on the right side of that?
It would be this house right here.
Which one?
This brick one right there.
I'm completely dumbfounded.
So this is on the corner of Clay and Central. So before,
Can you, we're on
so
Clay Street,
this
right?
is Clay Avenue, right here, right? So on the back side, this is two houses down from Central. So as I was looking around and doing a Google Street View, I noticed that this is the backyard of of this property that they're proposing to take up the asphalt. But if you look at it the other way, this is a shared driveway with, or once was a shared driveway with the property at 711 Central. And, or one, so the paving they're asking for, and we'll look at the site plan here in a second. This might help you. So here is the proposal, or 707. So if you look at this, so here's 707 Central, that there's a driveway that leads from down to Central Avenue. And so there was a car that would park here before.
Inside 128 Clay Avenue, a car that was parked that had come in off of that shared driveway.
Correct. From the,
And what has that to do with this application?
well, I'm just saying that that is where a car would park before. And I'm just saying that that's why that was where a car parked here before, to indicate that this paving was taken up what was a driveway, is what I'm indicating here.
Let me see if I understand it. Is the fence interfering now with it being used as a shared driveway? Is that what you're
I
trying to
don't
get
know,
at?
I'm not saying that, I'm just sort of
Well, then
saying,
what are we
this
trying to get into
driveway is, I mean, this area, this asphalt was being taken up by that, and I wondered, and what I'm indicating is the fact that this once was a driveway that now will be a rear yard of the
Okay, It
structure.
would help us if you point at that picture instead of this one.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. So here is the asphalt that will be removed, and a patio will be put here.
Okay, do you have any objections to that patio being put in?
I do not have that, but per the guidelines for the reference, and staff does not have an issue with the patio being put in, but staff does have issues with the driveway being put in.
Let's stay focused on that, please.
So, staff finds a proposal to remove the tree and to fill the green space with the driveway requires further discussion. Guidelines 3G and H states, trees greater than 10 inches in diameter should not be removed, and new construction should work around trees with trunks greater than 10 inches in diameter. The urban forester has visited the site and found the tree was healthy and does not appear to be damaging the historic structure. Also, roads are close to the earth and very visible. In addition, the installation of the driveway would take up the majority of the green space on that property. Staff does not find that the guidelines, that the proposal does meet the guidelines 3, 5, C, D, and E, which states landscape land features should not be visually dominant, intrusive, or suggest false sense of history. It should not be created by demolition of existing structures or open space that should be developed in scale and character of neighborhood and designated historic landmarks, or vistas or approaches are preserved and maintained. The proposal to remove the concrete in the rear and the installation of the patios within the guidelines as it swaps the existing paving for new paving and creates green space in the area of the property. Guidelines 2A, 1A says patio should be located at the rear of the buildings. It should be noted that patio space is also, it should have a plain in design and have no stamped concrete. And then staff recommends disapproval of the proposal to remove the tree and put in the patio, and staff recommends removal of the driveway and installation of the removal of the tree and the installation of the driveway, but staff finds removal of the driveway and installation of the patio within the guidelines with conditions of no stamped concrete, and then guidelines of the typical guidelines of once reviewed by LFUCG guidelines, and number 3 of any changes that alter the information submitted.
All right, Gary, who's making the presentation? Okay, come on up. And when you get to the podium, you state your name for the record, please.
Okay, and I'm Tony Barrett with Barrett Partners. I'm a landscape architect
Okay.
in Lexington, and I'm here representing the property owner, Gary and his wife, Gary Tagizada. And Gary and his wife they live in this house. It's owner occupied, and they have since their purchase in 2001. So, and they hope to continue to reside in the residence and age in place, if you would, and allowing a driveway for their use would be very beneficial. And I have you've got my slides set up, so I appreciate that. This is the house. As
again, let me suggest that you use your pointer onto that screen, since we can't see the screen very well. There we go.
I like to look at you, though.
I understand.
My feng shui or whatever is not is okay. So this is the house at 128 Clay Avenue. You can see all the on-street parking. There are a few spaces on the street that are not metered because Clay Avenue has a large commercial area. We are just a few non-metered spaces, and I'll show you in a minute. Those tend to be occupied primarily by people using the commercial and avoiding the meter, as I would too. So it makes perfect sense, but it doesn't help Gary and his wife with what they need. But this is the tree. It's a sweet gum. It's and that is the location for we are proposing for the driveway. Okay, this is the site plan that Amelia presented, and we're fine with the requirement that be 12 feet apron as for the infill. But we're proposing a 10-foot driveway that would extend back so that there is a parking space that is permitted behind the front plane of the house, as would be required. We have adequate side yard, and then this is the covered porch that I'll show you slides of. And then the patio in the back here, removing the driveway that extends back here. That driveway was shared with Gary and his mother, who lived in the house behind them. And she has passed, and now it's new ownership, and that agreement is no longer available to Gary and his wife. So that kind of precipitates the need for the driveway quicker than maybe we would have needed it otherwise. But in addition to the driveway, I'm proposing in kind of a mitigation, I guess, of removing the sweet gum is planting a new tree that would be more in keeping with the character of the patio, if you would. But so that's the site plan that I submitted, and then the front would be traditional lawn and garden area. This is the house again, and then that. Yeah. So in the brief, as kind of an example of of the need, while I was out there taking pictures, this car in the middle there, right there, it switched just in the short time I was there, and it immediately filled in. So it is constantly being utilized by, and you can see that lady, she's got her yoga gear, so she's going to the studio down the street. So, and so they fill in those spaces immediately. This is the neighbor to the left, that's his, and this is the neighbor to the right, and that's their their parking lot right there on the street. Let me go back to that other one, and this is his neighbor to the left there with their parking on the street, really. So, and then this is an exhibit that, using GIS, I identified all the driveways in the immediate area. This is Gary's house right here, and that's the proposed driveway that we're proposing. So every house
is outlined in blue. Is that correct?
Yes, in the blue. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Every house in that photo or that sketch has a driveway, except my client. So that is what we're trying to remedy so that he has a designated place to park. And then, so from your last meeting, I understood, and from staff's report, I understood that the tree was an issue, and I understand that. So I went out to take a look at the tree and see what was going on, and you can see, or maybe you can't, but there's exposed roots for the tree. So it's a large tree. A sweet gum is a large tree, and it's really just a case of too big of a tree in this spot, and it's starting to. It's not a historic tree. It's about 20 years old, so it's fairly new, and it's only going to get worse. The concerns that I have, but you can see where it's buckled the sidewalk, and there's exposed roots that are causing that, and will continue to cause that. Also, that's in the utility overhead utility lines in the way, and you can see where KU has come through their arborist, and they've cut to keep the tree out of the lines. And again, this is only a 20-year-old tree, so it's only going to continue to get worse.
I'm sorry, how did you reach the determination it's only 20 years old?
I'll show you in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
By the miracle of Google archives. But and also his service line weaves its way through there, and it's kind of bent and manipulated where the tree grows and moves, and is starting to probably yank the line down before too long. So we've got the buckling sidewalk and the utility lines, and then this is the tree over top of his side porch here, and you can see it was raining when I was out there, and this is why I noticed it. But just the balls of the sweet gum drop. It's a large tree. It's overhanging the roof, so it's going to be a continuous maintenance issue for him. It's clogged his gutters. It's down. It's dripping down, and then down here is a ponding water that's going to undermine his foundation over time. So those were my observations, and I wanted more of a professional opinion. So I asked Tim Query to come take a look at it. Tim was 30 years urban forester for the city, and he met me out there and reviewed it and provided me with this his assessment and his report. And basically, he identifies that it was planted during the early 2000s, and recognized the surface roots and damaging the concrete walk, and exhibits what he called a decurrent crown structure, which I wasn't really familiar with. So I looked that one up, and that's where the utility company has come through, and they've done their cutting, and they're doing it to protect their line, not necessarily to protect the tree or for the best of the tree. So that creates it's prone, when they cut like that, it's prone to structural damage to the tree. So that's going to be a continuing issue, and he identifies
Okay, we have a problem.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a copy of that letter in our packet? When did you get this letter prepared, sir?
That was noon today. Yes, I met with Tim today. I can leave you with with my packet, and it's on your flash drive, so that will be yours.
Well, I'm not sure it's appropriate for us to take that into consideration, considering that it was not in the packet that was reviewed by the staff. And if this is new information for the staff, that's something they should have been given a heads up on.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting we postpone.
Well, Tim is essentially confirming my assessment of when I went out there. So
Well, I'm going to suggest that we not rely on this letter. For lack of a better word, I'm ruling this letter inadmissible at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that was a significant finding to me, but I understand. Okay. So I went on to the city's website for their tree manual, and I looked up approved street trees, and the sweet gum is not in their general list of approved street trees. So it's not recommended, and as a street tree, because of the situation that I'm doing. It's just too big of a tree in this location. And then, so I went deeper and I looked into the plant manual, and it is in the plant manual as you go a little deeper, and it is a permitted street tree, but they specify specific cultivars of the species. So there are, trees have varying sizes depending on the specific cultivar. And, they say it's recommended for large areas, extensive root system needs room to develop, and the fruit can be considered a nuisance. And that's what we're finding here. It's really just a case of a beautiful tree in the wrong location for its situation. I looked at Michael Durr. He's kind of the leading authority, a prominent horticulturalist he's author of at least 12 reference books. I studied him in school 100 years ago, and he continues to be prolific in his publications, and he's a University of Georgia. But he describes the sweet gum and talks about how the size of it. It's a very large tree, 60 to 75 feet with a spread of 40 to 50 feet. The fruit continues to be a maintenance liability as a street and general lawn tree. And he says, I have slipped, fallen, and taken offense to the tree because of the mess it creates. So it's not good for the city plantings in small areas where roots are limited in their development. And again, that's just what we're finding here in this case. It needs a large area for root development. So
I have to ask you to move on, please.
Okay, yeah. So this is kind of an interesting, I love dealing with aerial photos, and as you look through, you will find, well, here, let me show you. This is, for reference, this is Gary's house here. This is the tree of reference, and this is Clay Avenue. This is Central Avenue, more in line with the Aylesford Neighborhood Association and or Aylesford Historic District. And the point of this is that the landscape is dynamic, and trees come and go for various reasons. They get too big, they get unwieldy, they need to be removed, and they are not, this tree in particular is not the historic context of the district, but the overall landscaping is, but this specific tree is not. And you will see, if I were to give you more time, these are aerial photographs from 2023, 2010, and 2002, and you can see the evolution of plant material that has come and gone. It's gotten bigger, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and so that is characteristic of the whole neighborhood and characteristic of everywhere in particular. So, but in 2002,
hang on.
Yeah.
Point out the house in question once again on that.
Yes,
photo
sir.
there.
It's right here, and this is the 2002, and the tree it's either not there or it's a seedling. So that's why I know, and that's why Tim knows, that it's somewhere between 2002 and today that it was planted.
And who
So
owned the house in 2002?
Gary bought it in 2001, so he did.
All right.
And he says it was small when he moved in. So that's why I say it was a seedling at that point. And based on Durr's comment, it being he made a point further that it's native, but it's almost invasive because it self-seeds itself so much. And I suspect that this tree
really
was
truly have to wrap this up.
Okay. I'm almost finished.
Okay.
The Aylesford plan from a long time ago, it recognized that street trees become unwieldy and need to be replaced. And although I'm not relying on this, but Tim recommended that we supplement with additional trees. So what I did was I added a new tree or a second tree to the front and I'm proposing that as further mitigation to the removal of the sweet gum, that we would propose 2 trees on the property. So,
What kind of tree are you recommending?
well, I leave that up to my wife. She's the more plants person, although we're both landscape architects. That's her strength. But I'm thinking that the tree in the front would be more a dogwood size, small tree, and then the tree in the back would be a medium tree, maybe a Chinese elm or something of that character. So, but I'm going to defer to her because I learned that over time.
All right. So are you done?
I am finished. Thank you very much.
Any questions from the board members? Okay, Mark. Mr. Burkett.
In staff's description, the skirt on the proposed plat is 16 feet. The driveway is 10 feet, and statement was made that under infill guidelines, the skirt can only be 12 feet. We've not talked about that before that I recall.
Right, and that's typically.
How is this an infill?
So the whole neighborhood is within the infill redevelopment area.
Okay.
And typically you never get plans, so you have to question that. But because of Mr. Barrett's plans not being approvable, period, within per our guidelines, because of putting in the driveway, we didn't question it or ask him to put new plans back in because we didn't feel they were appropriate to begin with. But within the infill redevelopment area, which is also within this particular area that goes all the way practically, it goes actually to the backside of, actually, this is where it stops pretty much, because Ashland, it stops. Your driveway can only be 10 feet with your driveway even only being 12, period. That's no negotiation. That's just how it is within the infill redevelopment per building inspection.
And how does this qualify as an infill and redevelopment project?
This area, not this particular project, the whole neighborhood,
Is
the whole
subject-
block is within this.
Ms. Burkett is subject to the restrictions that are associated with an infill area.
I'm understanding that.
It's a
Thank you for letting me
zoning.
ask the questions.
It's a zoning period of
Thank
that,
you.
So
It's an overlay, just like an H1.
And that would be, it wouldn't be of any consequence what the skirt width is on existing driveways in that area.
that's a grandfathered situation. Any kind of new ones would be limited to 12.
Thank you.
All right, anything else, Ms. Hill?
A simple question, and I do acknowledge that the location of the sweet gum and utility lines are a problem in many older neighborhoods across our city, planting trees that get way too big for what's going on. Are there utility lines in the rear of this property that are going to create a problem with the type of tree that would be placed in the proposed location?
No, ma'am, there's no overhead anyway, there, that I'm aware of, yeah, below ground. I will say we are agreeable to the 12-foot apron. I should have known that because I was on the infill committee for probably 15 years or so. And that infill area was based on the Sanborn map, I think, of 1935 or something. So that created the boundary.
Also, I was reading through all of the description, and please reacquaint me with the moratorium or the denial of stamped concrete. Where is that articulated?
We find stamped concrete is an imitative material, and we don't allow it. We've never have. We've never permitted stamped concrete because we find it as an imitative material. So I think you'll find that in guidelines that we're talking about in details I can't remember the particular guideline, but we really just find that you either have to have it either true brick material or a something of an actual true material and not an imitative material.
But that is a policy decision, not something mandated by the statute.
No, it is mandated by the statute.
Just not here.
Right. Well, no, I can't think of the guideline off the top of my head, but
All right.
I think
Thank
you
you.
can talk about that. Yeah.
Also, my experience has been, it just doesn't hold up as well. Okay. All right, anything else? A couple of comments from me. I'm in the dilemma. I have been at war for quite some time mentally with the prohibitions that we have put around trees that get to the wrong size, and then the homeowner seems to be stuck with them. We have equated, and this is actually an issue that's going to have to be visited sometime by Historic Preservation Commission with a revision. We have equated 10-inch with historic. The assumption being if it gets big enough to be 10 inches in caliber, then that's a historic tree that's deserving of protection. Obviously, I'm not sure that's necessarily a true, valid assumption. My personal belief is that the Secretary of Interior was concerned with maintaining landscapes and property of historic homes of trees that have been there from its inception. And it became an integral part of the historic home or whatever it may be. We don't have that situation here. In fact, we have, unfortunately, hemlocks that are planted in front of houses that aren't maintained or pruned and grow into huge trees. And yet the property owner is stuck with them. That's not saying I'm going to vote to approve this. I recognize what the guideline says. I have to adhere and observe that guideline. Regretfully, you're not the first person to have had this problem with a tree that's very healthy, and it is healthy, that is just totally inappropriately in the wrong place. So I wish we could do something for you, but I don't think there is. Michelle, do you have a comment?
Yes, given the nature of this existing tree, both the scale of it and its impact on utility lines that are only going to intensify as our climate continues to intensify, the proposal to add a more appropriately scaled tree that's away from utility lines but still on the property, and add a second tree, smaller, more appropriate tree in the front yard, I find to be a fair trade-off. This is not a 150-year-old tree that I'd stand in front of to protect. And the other factor is the removal of that shared driveway that has occurred since the purchase of this property that the owner had no control over. Does change the need and requirement in a very dense, very busy urban section.
Anything else? Regretfully, I don't think the guidelines call for a mitigation plan. That if you swapped better sited trees, that justifies the removal of a tree that's greater than 10 inches. And I personally do not want to get on that slippery slope of determining whether trees that are over a certain dimension but inappropriate planted can be removed if appropriate mediation measures are taken. Ms. Hill, I know where you're coming from. And part of me is in sympathy with that. But I don't think we have that authorization to do that, in my opinion. Legal counsel, do you have any opinion about this?
All I can say is that the guideline, it does say, trees greater than 10 inches in diameter should not be removed. That's not a shall.
Don't go there. You really don't want to go in that direction.
It also says unless diseased or unsafe. So if you
Yeah.
find a way to justify by being unsafe, then that's a possibility to fit it in the guidelines. But it's up to you.
Is the tree unsafe, in your expert opinion?
The exposed roots are definitely a tripping hazard.
Okay.
It's creating an ongoing maintenance issue with the house and the gutter system and the drainage, and the impact that it has on the utility lines and the service line that has to weave through there.
How is the canopy? Is it intact?
The canopy is generally intact. It's starting to lean because of the pine trees on the other side of it, over to Gary's house. but the side of it where the utility companies continue to prune it, it's,
Okay,
it's got an edge.
all right, thank you. Any further discussion on this? Are we ready for a motion of any kind?
Chair, with regard to case number 041-50128-A at 128 Clay Avenue, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted as recommended for the removal of the driveway and the installation of a patio within the guidelines with the following three conditions. The first condition, no stamped concrete used, and the other two conditions being the standard conditions which have been read a number of times in this meeting. And additionally, I move that the board disapprove the staff's denial of the proposed new driveway and placement of new trees, and approve the removal of the existing tree in order to accommodate the driveway with a 12-foot skirt. And be glad to discuss my rationale for that motion.
Well, let's get to it. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair abstains. Motion passes. Get the wording from, since it was fairly elaborate, the staff will prepare the minutes and will show you the COA as approved through this motion process, since we have now reversed the staff basically.
Well,
Okay.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you for a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Next time, when you come before us, bring extra copies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come right back to you. Okay, thank you.
I'm pretty good right now. Thank you.
One thing I started there, and I didn't want to close that urban forest.
Let's go ahead and resume the meeting. Thank you for your indulgence. We're now turning to, if I still have it in front of me, number 8. Yes, 624 North Broadway. Change roof and siding? No. Which one? Number 11, excuse me. 107 South Ashland. This is technically a reissue the COA to construct a perimeter wall. Staff makes a presentation, and let me find what I did with it.
Do you want to vote on 8 first or not?
Oh, I thought we did.
Nope.
I apologize. I thought we had voted. All right. Oh, shingle. Let's go back to, he's not here. I'm sorry. Let me get my, let me find it. Okay, this is the one where I think, yeah, here I found it. We need to discuss, I think, a suggestion. Let's have the staff recommendation on this one, please. And do we want to continue this, or can we? Did he ever call in?
No, it's been a very painful situation to try to be honest with you, to get
Okay.
work done. So,
All right, so right now, the matter stands with the staff recommending approval of his proposal, but they are suggesting also substantively reduce the roof pitch to be no more than 3/12, with final details returned to staff for review and approval, and that the mansard material shall remain asphalt shingles. The other two are the standard 2 conditions. Do we have any discussion about the staff recommendations? All right, go ahead.
I do have a question. And I note that in the findings that that to change from asphalt to hardy plank is not in keeping with the design because it changes the character defining features of the structure. For me, the mansard shape is the defining feature. So here's my question is, I'm not in disagreement about the hardy plank necessarily, but hardy does make shingles that would be much more appropriate for the 21st century and would have much more the sense of asphalt shingles, but be 21st century. Would that be an appropriate alternative from the staff's point of view?
I can't speak for that because I think that might be a cost that I'm not sure he would like to accrue on that. So it'd be hard. I mean, he has hired somebody to do some work. They just haven't, but he pretty much asked in the 11th hour to have them help. And so they haven't necessarily been able to apply time to do this. I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure. It wouldn't be appropriate to sort of see if we can approve one part, maybe get a waiver on the other. They do actually have a standing certificate of appropriateness just to replace the roof with a membrane. So he could just get a membrane on there, but he wanted to pitch it because this is an older roof that has some really big slopes in it that need to be addressed. And he thought it would be a wise idea to pitch it.
Well, we could just go ahead and disapprove it entirety since he's not here.
We could,
I don't like being blown off like this, quite frankly. Without no phone call, no text, no nothing.
I mean, I've pretty much have done as much more hand holding on this project than I need to do on this. I will just be honest with you.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right.
Can I make 2 comments, Amelia?
Sure, go ahead.
As far as the cementitious shingles, staff has reviewed that in other situations, other projects where they were trying to replace wood shingles and determined that the scale and the different thickness was not appropriate for that. And
We
so,
did discuss it, by the
yeah,
way.
we have discussed it numerous times. Although I do agree with you, it's a more modern material.
And it could be considered a bit more because of the age of the structure. And
Well, while we,
In some ways, more historic also. I mean, just in terms of asphalt shingles are certainly not historic to the nature of a man.
okay. Well, let's finesse it this way. Let us go ahead with the shall remain in asphalt, but we offer him the option and approve an option of installing hardy board shingles. Would that work?
the board's call,
Mm-hmm. Do I know?
the board's call.
Okay, I think that's what we'll do then.
Okay.
All right, so is there any-
Question, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Hardy board is the size of an asphalt shingle?
No, no. I think what she's referring to is the shake shingle, hardy shingle, like a shingle that looks like
A shake.
shake.
Thank you. That I was,
Mhm.
And that would be consistent with the appearance
and
of
that's
this.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
very familiar with, have a lot of experience with this very problem. And I was thinking it was more of a plywood siding, but thank you.
All right, so any more discussion on this motion or issue? Are we ready for a motion then? No, I know I'm ready for a
Chair,
motion.
with regard to case 025-00624-D, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted as recommended by the staff with the two standard conditions, and additionally, condition number 1, reduce the roof pitch to be no more than 3/12, with final details returned to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of a COA. And 2, the mansard material shall remain either asphalt shingles or may be replaced with hardy shake shingles.
All right, do I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously, and the COA as conditioned is approved.
Okay.
Turning now to the ever-patient Darren Taylor. At 107 South.
Mr.
Yeah, Ms.
Whitley.
Whit- I'm
yes,
sorry, yes.
yes.
I'm sorry. Darren was so large, he blocked me from seeing it. All right, so we're at 107 South Ashland. Come on up there.
All right.
Actually, let's have the staff.
Yeah, I'll do this real quick. So we have seen this project in many different ways. I think we're wrapping up on the last entity of this project, and that would be to replace or to reissue the COA to install the masonry wall. But now they did get a permit in 2019, then also again sort of in 2022-ish, 24-ish to reissue that with some other issues. But now we are formally asking for it again, but to increase the height to 8 feet. And I want you to look at this picture in the sense, and I'll do it over here, because there is a hedge between this and Donato's. Of course, this structure sits on South Ashland, and it is sort of situated between two entities of commercial, but also one entity of residential. So here we are having a hedge that would propose to be a part of a new masonry wall that would be consistent with the masonry wall that's across the street that separates the property across the street with the what was Judy's garden wall. Then put in, and then also our next image shows its initial proposal when you have a little picket fence back here, which is actually quite hard to see, but it would be right here. And you can see, and it also goes along the property line. There would also now include to be a masonry wall with just a gate here. And then going back on the other side of this is the back side of Donato's. be another masonry wall, and this actually backs up to the former McGee structure. And this is again the hedge, and then it goes back to McGee's, and then this would be going back to the former McGee structure and the installation of a new masonry wall against this structure that would be completely on Mr. Whitley's property or 107 South Ashland's property. And then also separate the neighboring structure. And so they're proposing to have it completely enclosed now with an 8-foot masonry wall versus the formerly 6-foot masonry wall. And I'm gonna show some image and then go back to the site plan. As you can sort of see, we walked over here, and so this now will be, he does actually want this just to be a 6 foot down to walking this down a little bit, sloping this down. And then this part here to be the 8 foot coming down to this being 8 foot, and then 2 pedestrian gates on either side, or particular gates here in this particular area. So this is the part that backs up that they're asking for the 8 foot here.
This is in the backyard now?
This is the backyard.
We're not talking about the side at all?
Well, we are, but
Okay.
that's going to be 6 foot, which is fine. So
According to, okay.
yeah.
The
Right.
hedge, the hedge
The
will be
hedge will be
removed
6 foot.
and replaced by
The
a
hedge,
6-foot
right.
fence.
And the hedge has already been removed. So these are older photos from that time period. And Mr. Whitley and I had already talked about that when the hedge was removed. So staff finds the proposal to construct the 8-foot wall around the backyard requires further discussion. The first proposal has had this brick wall at 6 foot and would be consistent with the historic neighborhoods. However, the proposal calls now for a real wall to be at 8 foot. Staff finds the 6 foot to be too tall and not in keeping with the guidelines. Guidelines 2, 1D, and E said fences should be no taller than 6 feet, and freestanding brick and concrete walls are not appropriate in front walls, but should be acceptable in rear yards and side yards. And staff finds a 6 foot wall would still be more in keeping with the neighborhood. Recommendation, staff recommends approval of the 6 foot high brick wall and reducing the 8 foot wall to 6 feet within the following conditions of the standard 2 conditions. And of
Okay,
course,
I want to make sure I'm not hearing a typo or seeing a typo. Fourth line down, where you said staff finds that 6 foot is too tall.
8 foot is too tall. Oh, no. Yeah, that 6 feet is appropriate. Sorry. Yes, you're right. Sorry.
How do you want that to read?
I want it to be that 6 feet is fine. Would be acceptable. 6 feet is acceptable.
Which is under the
That's right.
Okay.
Mhm. Right.
I'm trying to fix your findings.
Thank you.
Well, I
Okay,
haven't heard
yes.
it yet.
Right. Well, I'm saying that the
Okay.
recommended approval of the
Let
6
us
foot high brick
substitute
wall.
With your findings, staff finds that 6 foot is appropriate, period.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, as corrected. Now, Darren, I guess, are you ready?
Yep,
Yes.
he's ready.
So as I'm gonna go ahead. Let me say my name for the record. Darren Taylor, 239 North Mill Street. I will
Thank you.
go
So
ahead and
I know I'm making you turn away from us, but we can see you better.
that's right, no doubt. I may have gotten off the. No, there we go. Okay. So I think what's important to note here, obviously, as you're seeing, this is a very urban suburban condition, right? They're bounded on 2 sides. One side by Donato's, the rear side by the former McGee's building. It's a very tight site, and they've got not only visual concerns but really safety concerns. And I'm not going to super belabor this because the owner is here to talk about this, but I think this is an image that's really important. Is obviously this is the backside of the McGee's building. This the original structure is a brick bowstring truss building, but then there's a rear mono-pitched CMU building at the back, and then a lean-to shed that used to serve the bakery as well. They have multiple concerns here with safety of people coming into their yard from that property, coming into their yard from the front through there and sort of passing through that over to Clay Avenue and all those areas. So this is really about control for them and visual control as well, but safety. But one thing that's not to note that may not be understood in looking at this photo is that the gentleman who owns McGee's, who Mr. Whitley is very friendly with and in communication with. We've also worked on that building internally a little bit, is potentially planning to remove that shed structure and maybe some of those elements. So there's some exposure that could be worse than it is now as far as how they have people on their property, but there's also a little bit of an elevation change back on that side of the property. And so a 6-foot fence on the McGee's property side might be more like 4.5 or 5 feet, depending on how it's graded. So this is really an effort to keep that people from coming through there once this fence built. And we also talked about an idea of a pierced brick wall being something that maybe gives a little bit more visibility. That may be something for someone to use to climb over. So it's really about control. And I'm going to let Ralph come in and speak to you to that point. But I think that ultimately this whole section back here is why you'll see in the plan the way that we're proposing this is really the important piece of this. So Ralph, I'll let you
Quick, hang on. Mr. Taylor, am I hearing you correctly that you're saying that a pierced brick is not appropriate?
Well,
for you?
we're concerned. I think Amelia and I talked about a pierced brick wall. We're just concerned that someone actually might use that to climb over. It becomes sort of a foothold piece, and you should hold it and get above it. So that's really our concern.
I just want to make sure I was hearing it.
Yeah, the aesthetic of it is just fine, but I think in this application, it's not great. And Ralph's got some things he's going to do.
State your name for the record, please.
My name is Ralph Whitley.
Mr. Whitley? Do we have pictures or not?
Yeah, I have a PowerPoint that I was hoping to bring up.
If I could limit your presentation to about 10 minutes.
I'll be done in 5.
Good.
I'm not going to try to be super detailed. I'm going to try to just give the 500-foot view because I think y'all been doing this while. You definitely get it.
And literally, you're giving us a 500 view.
I am. So what South Ashland Avenue, I think we have probably one of the most unique properties on that street. So we are right here, right? So that's South Ashland. That's where I live. It's the smallest lot on the street. So every piece of square footage on the lot is valuable, and it is completely surrounded in pink by commercial property on all sides. And I stopped once I got to Hanover Tower, but all of that's commercial property. So wanted you to just make sure you understood, like the only part that we're talking about making 8 feet is this part that kind of blocks this back parking lot. And if you look here at our house, there's a whole parking lot that's used as cross traffic. So since we've lived there, we've had people sleeping behind the fence for several weeks. We've had, drug usage, things like that. It is urban. We're in a downtown environment, I understand that, but it is a security risk. So wanted to also point out that down the street is, more rental property, which I'm going to tell you why that's important in just a second. So anyways, the only part that we're talking about making 8 feet is this part. We're only intending to go to here out of the gate because they may not tear down that addition. And if they don't, we're going to use that concrete block wall as part of the boundary because our property line, which you can't do in modern day, is right against the wall. You could not do that in today's building codes. So this is kind of what the keeping with the front would look like. It's more just a visual gap. The bushes along there would stay. People could still kind of get back behind Donatos if they wanted and get into our driveway, but we're also intending to build a gate that kind of blocks the backyard, makes it secure eventually. So this is across the street. And the idea for the kind of sloping lattice at the front is from this house. This is the first house right across my street. When we did the conceptual design presentation, one of the things we talked about was trying to create a gateway into the community as best as possible. Not mimic it 100%, but somewhat reflective. What you can't see right here is there's another fence that's a lot taller that separates this residential property from this commercial property. So this is what the back of my house looked like before we did the renovation. And what you can see here is, you've got this exposure here to the back parking lot. It's aesthetically not very, very pleasing. And you can see this from aesthetically not pleasing. You can see this from the front of the building. So this is what an 8 fence would look like. It would still not cover completely the freezer coolers, but
theoretically, those won't be there unless it stays a restaurant. Even if it does, I think that's a much more improvement. If you could imagine a brick fence, it's built very nicely and well. This is kind of, Darren touched on this, but you can see the sloped wall that may get removed by Greg. I think he's been looking at a lot of different options right now. So this is kind of what that would look like with that 8-foot wall and how it would connect to that. I've already talked with Greg. Greg is fine with us either connecting to his building or perhaps hanging some sort of metal piece off the end that connects to our wall that doesn't actually physically intrude the structure of his building. Yes, and so part of what Darren was mentioning is that the intent, or at least the conversation is that if that addition gets removed, that would be parking for the McGee's building. So there'd be more traffic back there. So in our neighborhood, surrounded by commercial property, right here, this is my neighbor I was pointing to across the street. That is an 8-foot brick fence. I look at one right out my front porch, and it separates a residential property from commercial property. This is H1, that's commercial property. So my property, I think Darren mentioned 2 sides, but in my mind, I'm surrounded on 3 sides by commercial property because I still count the multi-use residential as commercial property. Across the street, where you have the Temple Market and you have these condos, is an 8-foot brick fence. And then when you go down the street, on my street, right here, there's a rental property, and separating that rental property from this rental property is an 8-foot fence. This fence, I didn't include it. It's actually 7'4". When you go up,
I'm assuming all of these fences predate the creation of the neighborhood H1 overlay, don't they?
oh gosh, I didn't do that research because honestly, I just looked this morning. I just took these photos this morning. These are not all the 8-foot fences in my neighborhood, but they're also, I mean, to be fair, there's more 6-foot fences than 8-foot fences.
When was this H1 created, Amelia? Do you remember? That long ago? I thought they came into being in the 2010, 20. This is the South Ashland Central Avenue Historic District. 91? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So I didn't include it because I was honestly ran out of time, but if you go up Central Avenue, there's a couple condos, or I'm sorry, townhomes. There's 2 townhome developments. Both of them have 8-foot fences surrounding. I don't know if that's an H1. Is it H1? Okay. So now my neighbor across the street, that fence right there that separates their property from Hanover Towers driveway, that's an 8-foot fence. This is that's the 8-foot fence that I was showing you separating those 2 rental properties. And this is on the side of the building, and obviously mine's going to be in the backyard. And I guess another thing too, although not an architect by any means, the height of the building relative to the height of an 8-foot fence, I don't think is going to overpower our building, which has the attic, so I don't think to me, that wasn't an issue. This is the one across the street. Now that one markedly is shorter. You'll see this is like 6'8", but that's 8 foot, or this is like 6 or 7 foot. I'm sorry. And that's 8. So anyways, so that's essentially what I wanted to say. The main reason for us is security, increased aesthetics. When you look at the building from the front, the curved view, because you see the commercial property and all the air handling units and stuff that we're trying to shield. But the other thing that maybe I would point out too is it's the smallest lot on the street. And one of the issues with that kind of lot is that you need to be able to maximize your square footage that you have. So we've talked about doing things like, I can't remember what they're called, but the big trees that grow tall and hide everything.
There we go.
Yeah, right. But what winds up happening on a lot that size is that you're going to lose 4 feet when you get to 10 feet. But if you get one that'll cover all of it, you're 8 feet. So you're using 8 feet of your backyard. So that's why the brick fence, done appropriately, meeting however aesthetically you feel would be appropriate, I think would be the best thing for the neighborhood. So
what if you had a 6-foot wall fronted by trees that would block egress into that backyard. A series of trees, be evergreens or whatever, that would be tall enough that would be, your 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, whatever, assuming you don't have power line issues. That would serve as a buffer, would it not?
Yes, it would. And so I considered, the other options I considered was that, which was a fence, a brick fence with bushes or trees on our side.
Right.
And that's what I was getting at. You're losing that. By the time they grow tall enough to cover that stuff, they're wind up being somewhere between 6 to 8 feet in diameter. And they impinge on the small lot. That's my one of the things that I'm trying to maximize, given the depth that we've done to this property.
There are some skinny trees that can get that tall that are still pretty skinny. So, okay.
It's probably 20 feet.
20 feet.
Yeah.
So if you take 20 feet from the house to the fence and you take 4 out of it, because we kind of looked at it, we were looking at it.
I didn't realize it was that short.
It's quite tight. I mean, it's probably
Okay.
one of the tightest houses in that whole area. Forget even Central Avenue. And all
Well,
that,
when they sold the McGee's, so the property that McGee's is on used to be part of South Ashland. It was sold. And
Okay.
So on the Sanborn maps, you can see it goes back further at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was, you had 2 questions, I thought. Maybe not.
No, that was.
I looked at another option, which was building a 6-foot fence and trying to put something on top of it.
Yeah.
That would grow on top of it, so not permanently affixed. I didn't close the loop on that. I didn't research it much more because I felt like 8 foot would be appropriate, and I wanted to, and that's what we'd actually like to do. So I wanted to come in here and just honestly make the case for it.
As you know, 8 foot's going to be a problem for us.
Yes, that's why I definitely came myself, and I certainly understand the guidelines and make it clear 6 feet's the answer per the guidelines. But I thought, given the fact that there's 8 foot interlaced through the neighborhood, that perhaps it's worth a different consideration if you were to come by and see the house.
Okay, let's see if there's any rebuttal.
What is the zoning status of, what is it, 111? What the house next door you said was multi-use? What's the zoning for that?
It's R3.
That's what I was going to say, R3.
Just as your house is.
Mine was R3. We bought it and converted it back to a single family home.
Which would be R1?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, no, we know this house very well.
Well, thanks to some of y'all's variances, we've been able to do the project. If you remember, that dormer was going
Yes,
to
I
kill
know.
the whole thing. So thank you all for that.
The dormer was the process for us. All right, rebuttal from the staff, if any.
I mean, I think Mr. Taylor and I talked about this quite in depth about this. I think, we have had several issues with our other areas where we've backed up to development or other commercial entities. We have Ellesmere Park is one of those entities where a lot of the backyards back up and they have a consistent situation of 8-foot fences. I think the qualm we have is not necessarily the back side of it. It's as it comes forward between the properties is the bigger issue. And I think if the board were to see if they are wanting to give some relief to allowing an 8-foot fence in some regard, I think maybe if there's a way you could step down between the parcels to have between the neighboring structure that we're talking about that's in R3, because what happens if that changes to a single family structure and then you're stuck between having an 8-foot wall between that. I think, we have seen, I think on another example is on West Short Street where there's a structure that backs up to the Marathon Station that has an 8-foot fence behind that because of the nature of that. But I think it's between the structures that's more concerning to have an 8-foot fence between.
Okay, I thought we were only talking about the fence behind.
We are. I
Okay,
mean,
so
but
why
I
are we
think
getting into a discussion about in between?
because he's asking for a 8-foot fence all the way around, right? He's asking for an
Oh,
8-foot
okay.
fence all the way around.
And that's on the. let
on
me get
the south side of the structure.
Yeah.
So the west side of the structure
gotcha.
backs up to McGee's, which is commercial. But the
Okay.
south side is also asking for that. And that's the part that I think is more problematic in some ways.
That's correct. I'm clearly asking for 8 feet back here. And this is still, as I understand, it's still approved at 6 feet. I always ask it.
So that was my question actually, is that it's just that L-shaped piece in the back that we're talking about. I am intrigued by the idea. I have no problem with the 8-foot fence against those commercial buildings at all. And I don't really have a problem with the 8 feet as it comes perpendicular to that, but I am intrigued with the idea of the upper 2 feet having a lighterness about it, so that it doesn't have the same kind of heavy blockage.
Okay.
You know, as an architect, I can think of all kinds of ways to.
Could we go to pierced brick from 6 feet up and allow that transparency?
That
And then
that might be a really handsome.
it's a good look to it, and it could really work well. And then the other thing, and I won't speak for you, but the other thing is if we returned back, and if you
You can always put glass in between the cracks too.
if we said that this was 6 feet with a 2 foot pierced brick portion to the top, and then maybe this comes down to only here, and then that drops to 6, that may achieve some of that privacy and some of that security as it just returns a little bit, and then you go down to 6 as it returns. I think that would help that a little bit. That's
Hey, Darren, could you repeat that? Are you saying 8 foot along the back or 6 feet along the
so
back?
I'm saying the section here is 8 feet down to here.
Okay.
And then potentially it returns only one little section here is 8, and then drops all the way to 6 as it comes up to meet the house. So that at least that if someone's back here, they can't get into here and get over. But I think this property line actually goes back here, Ralph, if I'm not mistaken. Like this, your neighbor has that. So maybe it just, this whole thing goes to 6 on the side, and the back is 8, with a 2 foot section on top of the 6. Just a thought there.
You said 6 on the back. That's why I just wanted you to clarify that again. So.
I think the kind of open latticed brick just sounds contradictory, doesn't it? Could be a really handsome look and still accomplish that sense of enclosure and privacy by still being visually more open.
Right. The opposition to 8-foot barricade is when you just have a solid edifice. But if you open it up with, a pierced or a lattice or what you want to call it, with a solid wall, 6 foot, and then you top it with a more transparent topping. We have done that, or certainly have not had objections to that kind of a project at all.
Darren's telling me it's sketch.
That's what he does.
But I mean, holistically, that would solve my concerns. And
What is the
Darren can make it look great.
Yeah, I want to make sure. What are the security issues with the house to this, I guess, south of you that you're
Right
having?
next door.
Yep.
It's an
There's
R3.
really much
It's an
security.
R3.
What's that?
It's a what?
It's an R3
It is
property.
an R3.
Yeah.
R3. Okay.
I can't say that, I've seen
I mean, are you going to have
people
people running in
sleeping
your
there.
backyard? Okay.
What's that? No, that's not any of the areas where I saw people sleeping or doing drugs or
Okay.
anything. So no, I can't say that, but it is an R3, and
Well, you're saying it's going to be student or rental property?
it is.
Okay.
Oh, it is, and I've never had any problems with tenants from over
Mhm.
there. We get along great, but if I could do 8 feet around, I think it would be a nice look, and it would help with the shielding. And I certainly am open to the lattice option.
We can't do the 8-foot solid. I can tell you that right now.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Okay. What are you sketching?
So I'm just drawing this, and this was more for him, but the idea is that you have the overall is 8 feet, you have a 6 foot section, and then the top is pierced brick, and whether that includes the columns or not, however you want to do it, but it's the idea that that whole top section is actually pierced brick, you can see through it, so
Okay.
it's up above, and you could climb that, you wouldn't be able to get up there to get to that. That's the concern, the whole thing was pierced brick.
And just put little pieces of barbed wire in there too.
Yeah, we'll have spikes that need to be rusty.
Okay. All right. No. Okay, I think we see what you're saying. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, any further discussion?
I would just like, and I think so, you're on now, I'm on. That's okay. Matter. There we go. Okay. Um, a three-wheeled wagon. So I just want to say that guidelines that we work with typically are in residential areas. And I don't know all of them specifically, but we're talking of a situation here where you're bounded by non-R1 properties. And for that reason, I think there are exceptions available. I think the latticed brick is a nice option, and I appreciate that. But I just would like to say for the record that we run into situations where the guidelines and the requirements that were built for what were primarily residential properties but abutting each other doesn't seem to apply here. So I appreciate the compromise, but I just want you to know I'm very sympathetic with the overall situation that requires you to respond with an 8-foot request.
Thank you for that.
All right, anything else? I think we might be ready for a motion. This meeting, that I might add that Beta Cur assured me would not last longer than an hour or so. It's not your
Ms. Kerr
fault,
would have known
Aaron.
better.
Not your fault at all. All right, so let's have a motion, please.
All right, Chair, per case number 0071007-N at 107 South Ashland Avenue, I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness with the following conditions. That an 8-foot tall brick wall, solid brick wall that runs parallel to the commercial properties and turns the corner and continues as solid for 2 feet, and then provides a 6-foot solid wall with a 2-foot open brick pattern atop it to the edge of to the corner of the house. In addition, the standard 2 conditions will apply.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes and the COA as conditioned is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Do
Thank you,
we have
guys.
any minutes to review? I believe then we're ready for an adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Without objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you.